What could you do with 60 seconds? In just 60 seconds, you could do a lot. Maybe brew a cup of coffee. Smell the roses. Finish that crossword puzzle. Or listen to that new song one more time. And now, with Blue Hive, you can check drug screening off your to-do list just as fast. No lines, no clipboards, no chaos. Just fast, secure, 60-second screening from a network of over 18,000 providers. Because compliance shouldn't slow you down, and your time matters. Join us at Blue Hive for the 60-second drug screening challenge to learn how you can simplify occupational health. With Blue Hive, HR just got easier. See, in the time you watch this video, you could have already scheduled a drug screen for your entire team. Here's how.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'd like to welcome you to our Blue Hive 60-second drug screening presentation. First, again, thank you for your time today to join us. We truly appreciate the opportunity to show you what Blue Hive can do. My name is Scott Howard, and I am the president of Blue Hive Health. I'd like to start our day by giving you a brief overview of what to expect during today's session, but then also an overview of Blue Hive itself. So Blue Hive is a technology platform built to simplify and accelerate workforce medical compliance and occupational health. We connect employers, healthcare providers, and employees through a single, streamlined interface, making it easier to manage things like drug screenings, which we're here for today, physicals, and other occupational health requirements tied to, say, DOT regulations, OSHA regulation, or broader regulatory needs. In short, we eliminate the administrative drag that slows companies down and replaces it with Blue Hive that provides speed, clarity, and control. Whether you're an HR leader trying to just schedule a pre-employment screening or a provider trying to track down paperwork and just simply get paid, Blue Hive reduces friction across the board. Our mission is to bridge the gap between employers and clinics so that compliance just simply doesn't feel that chaotic. It feels human, modern, and manageable. And most importantly, it scales without the need of throwing more bodies at the problem. At Blue Hive Health, our mission is to connect employers with clinics and make occupational health compliance easier for everyone. We recognize that this is an often underserved market. So many of you are likely managing these processes through phone calls, fax machines, email attachments, or emails in general. Really a bunch of disparate technology systems, maybe a portal for one provider, a portal for another, and really all held together by super competent, dedicated HR generalists, safety specialists, HR managers who serve as the glue for these complex workflows. In lieu of that type of process, we've created a platform that brings everything together in one accessible, seamless space. And one of the things we're most proud of is how quickly and easily you can onboard your company with a profile and schedule drug screenings. So the idea is you may have for today's topic, a drug screening, maybe a pre-employment, maybe it was a random, maybe it was actually a post-accident drug screen, maybe it was a suspicious drug screen, and you need to get this done quickly. And you just heard of Blue Hive today. In that time period, you can jump on our website, log in less than 60 seconds, upload your profile, schedule drug screening, and get started and have that work task off your plate today quickly and seamlessly. So whether it comes to drug screenings, whether it comes to DOT physicals, regular physicals, eye exams, ear exams, or anything, again, having to do with trying to stay OSHA compliant, Blue Hive is the place to do that. Today, we're going to prove that and just show how fast and simple that process can actually be. So with that, I'd like to introduce our CTO and co-founder, Will Reisky. Will, as far as an agenda today, is going to demonstrate how you can schedule, as I described it, upload your company, schedule a drug screening in under 60 seconds, and give you a walkthrough of the application. After that demo, he'll hand it back to me to do an overview of our pricing model and then give a brief conclusion, which will then segue into a Q&A session with both Will and I. So we know your time is valuable, and our goal is to keep this presentation informative, efficient, and respectful of your schedule. So without further ado, Will Reisky.
All right, so here we go. 60 seconds, I'm going to order a drug test. So I'm onboarding here as a new employer. I'm here to order drug tests. This is our onboarding flow. I'm a returning customer. And then I'm going to import some employees using any of our 200 plus HRIS and payroll integrations. So I'm just going to go ahead and log in here. And this is going to fire off a sync where all of the employee data, as you can see, 20 employees were imported. Now I'm going to agree to the terms for the payment processing, add in my business card here, make sure I have the right zip code. We also support ACH. I'm going to start my first order. Select an employee. I'm going to look for a 10-panel drug screen, hit next, and I'm going to find a provider in the area and send the order with 13 seconds to spare. And that is how easy it is to order a drug test in under 60 seconds using BlueHive for Employers. Yes, it's really amazing what we've been able to build in these last couple of years. It's really a testament to our team, which I'd like to talk about really how that team came to be and really about the company behind, BlueHive. So, our company BlueHive is actually a subsidiary of a much larger organization, Medical Informatics Engineering. And MIE started around 1995. We actually just had our 30-year anniversary. And it started as a wires and pliers business in Northeast Indiana, essentially connecting different clinics together, different, doctors' offices and people that, were on paper charts back then, in giving them access to the internet before most people even knew what an @sign was. So it started off as really building a network, and then it moved into the digitization of patient charts. And that's how WebChart, one of MIE's products, came to be at the time. And that was, a fully certified EMR within a couple of years, and, was able to get a lot of people from paper charts into an actual digital chart that they could access anywhere on the internet. And over the years, we started making more relationships, and one of our clients, Dow, came to us and said, "Hey, can you do this for occupational health?" So we worked with them, and we actually have a lab at our headquarters at Electric Works that showcases some of the work that we did and the individuals that helped make that possible. But we ended up building a whole nother offering for that called Enterprise Health. And Enterprise Health is more for your Fortune 500, Fortune 100, the Eli Lillys of the world and the Disneys of the world use Enterprise Health because they have their own on-site clinics and they handle the occupational health for their employee population. Years go by and we started to see a gap in the market and quickly realized, there's need for occupational health services for small to medium-sized businesses that don't really have their own on-site clinics. Or if there's an organization that has an on-site clinic, they might need to refer out for some specific services. So that's where BlueHive came to be. In around 2018, we started BlueHive. It originally just started out as a directory. We pulled a lot of information from the NPI at the time and quickly realized that the NPI database is just grossly out of date. There was a lot of doctors' houses and boarded up buildings and people that were retired. So we built out what we call our provider representative team. And our provider representative team is what makes the BlueHive directory so valuable. So back in 2018, 2019, we actually had a single person going through and cleaning up every single listing, and they were calling, verifying hours, checking websites, looking at their social accounts, and doing everything they possibly could to make sure that we had accurate pricing, accurate fax numbers, accurate location, if there's wheelchair accessible, and we started building out that directory. That quickly then migrated into our first client at the time that needed to do COVID-19 PCR home test kits because it was middle of COVID, and they needed a solution for their employers. So we pivoted a little bit at that time to make it possible for this employer to service, this provider service their employers. So we built out an employee offering as well that allowed employees to log in and order tests, COVID-19 tests at the time, on behalf of their employer. Their employer gave them a benefit essentially to log in and order those tests. And we did a lot of that for about a year or two, and then started getting back into our core vision, which we'll talk about today, which is really truly connecting employers with providers. That's our goal. We're a matchmaker. You can think of us a lot like Uber, in the sense that if you need a drive somewhere, you load up the app, you select where you want to go, and Uber handles everything. It finds you a driver, you pay through the app, you get to your destination, you get your receipt in the app. Same thing applies if you're an employer and you need a drug test, a DOT physical, a background check, any sort of test that you might need. And we have 100+ tests that I will talk about in later in the presentation. If you need any of those tests, we can do them for you. And we have 20,000 providers in the directory that can do them. So that means for you, all you need to do is load up the app, select the employee you need a test for, select what test it is, send the order, and we handle everything else. We find a provider in the area. We make sure that they have all of the pre-authorization forms, any payment details. We handle all of making sure that the results come digitally back so that you access them in the app, and it's a full seamless experience. So that's a little background about our company, sort of how we came to be, sort of the vision behind, this gap in the market for small to medium-sized businesses. And yeah, I'd like to dive in a little bit more and tell you about BlueHive. Okay, so we're going to dive in a little bit to our 3 separate segments. We've mapped a win-win for every stakeholder here. Employers get a streamlined process, providers can expand their reach, and employees receive top-notch care. BlueHive is designed to meet the unique needs of each group seamlessly. Essentially, we're connecting the dots so everyone wins. And if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll notice that there are 3 different logos. One is for employers, one is for providers, and one is for everyone else, the employees, essentially. And we're going to talk about these individually here in a moment. So on the employer side, this can be small business HR managers needing a drug screen for their new remote hire, or a large organization that is looking to automate services for their entire employee population. We have a nationwide network of 20,000+ providers, so we make it really easy for an employer to come in and order any sort of service for their employee with our provider network. We handle all the scheduling, we make sure that results come through. It's a huge time saver. And we offer this as a full concierge service. Now, what does that mean? Essentially, it's like a white glove concierge service. So if you say, hey, John over here needs a drug test, we handle everything else. We can find a provider for you. We can make sure that the employee shows up, they have all the forms, that if there's a result that needs, reconciled, we'll make sure the result gets back in the system, whether it's a digital interface because we're already partnered with the provider, or they're sending us a fax and we digitally sign it in. And we can even use AI to, recognize what the data is on the form, whether it was a pass or a fail. So we make that easy. In a normal workflow, maybe what you're doing today is you're calling around. Let's say you hire somebody in a state that you don't normally do business in, or you just hired a remote employee. You're going on Google, you're finding a provider, you're calling around, hey, can you do this? You're setting up an account with them. You're orchestrating having the employee show up. The employee shows up. Oh, maybe they forgot their onboarding form, or there was a step missed. So now they're calling back. Okay, the employee does the testing. 2, 3, 4 days go by. Where's the result at? You're calling the provider again. Oh, they misspelled your email, or they just forgot to send it to you. We handle all of that for you, completely white glove. And that's what our concierge service does. And that's where the value comes in that Blue Hive solution. Now, on the provider side, like I said, we have 20,000 plus providers in a network. So if you're a Fastest Labs, or you're a CVS Minute Clinic, or you're any provider that can do these types of service, we offer an entire platform for you to be able to expand your client base, to get paid, to be able to do the results digitally, so that you don't have to get faxes and you don't have to deal with paper invoicing. If you do it in the Blue Hive platform, it'll be a seamless experience. We also support HL7 integration. So if you have an EMR or something that you're doing work out of, we can send the orders right into your existing platform, and it's seamless. And what that means for employers, right, is if we have a partnered provider in the network, that it's going to be an easy experience for the employee and for you, because as soon as you send that order, the provider is going to get it in real time. They're going to be able to accept it, schedule the appointment right in the platform. The results are going to come right back through, and the payment processing is all going to happen. So really, between the employer solution and the provider solution, we've married these together very well to offer a full, robust solution for, again, back to our vision, connecting employers with clinics. So this is the Arlington, Texas network. We have over 200 providers in the Arlington, Texas network. So if you're in this area, Fort Worth, Arlington, Dallas, we have you covered. So if you have an employee here, and really anywhere in the United States, if you have a provider, a relationship currently, we can work with that provider. Or if you just want to start using our directory, we can find a provider to work for you. So another great feature there is if you have an employee that you want to be able to log in and order a test on their own without you needing to do anything, you can do that and provide that as part of that employee platform, where they can log in, select one of the services that you offer. If it's a yearly hearing test and you want to just make sure that an employee can go and order that themselves, or get a reminder text that, hey, you're getting due for your hearing test, we can do that where it's totally hands off for you. And then you would get a report of everybody that's compliant. Some other awesome features that we support, we make it really, really easy to get data in, and I will show that in the live demo. And actually you saw that in the 60-second demo that we did. When I selected Bamboo HR, you were able to see how quickly I could import my roster, essentially from any HRIS platform. We've got support with over 200 plus platforms, payroll and HRIS, where you just click a couple buttons, log into your HRIS platform, and then it's a sync that can happen in real time. It can happen as soon as data is updated. It can happen nightly, where you always have the most accurate listing of employees in the platform very simply. If you don't have an HRIS system, or you just want to use a CSV, we've made it really simple in the CSV import process, where you only have to map the data one time. And then the next time that you bring the CSV in, the data is already mapped, and it will just update the existing employees. It'll insert new employees that were on the list. And if you've deactivated an employee or anything like that, we also support all of that in our CSV import process. We also offer single sign-on for some individuals if they need, if let's say you have an Okta, or you have a Azure, or you have some sort of platform that you use that's SAML based, we can set that up where your employees can just log in with their existing single sign-on, and you don't have to manage usernames and passwords, which is great. We talked a little bit about the provider directory. We've got 20,000 plus providers. We also offer full, service management for those providers, and then simplified invoicing. No more paper, no more getting invoices in the mail, no more, did I pay this? It's seamless. It's part of the platform, and we take the guesswork out of it. So let's talk a little bit about the service list. Like I said, we offer 100 plus different services. This could be anything from physical exams. This can be DOT physicals, law enforcement medical evaluations. The screening and testing piece. Think toxicology, breath alcohol tests, vitals assessment, preventative health. We cover everything from COVID-19 to shingles for vaccinations. Everything that, whether it's routine check or a specialized test, we've got you covered. And this is another breakdown. This isn't the full list that we have, but this is some of the most popular lists. And as you can see, regulated drug screens is one of our main drivers for people to use the platform. But there's a lot more in there. So it's not just drug screens. It's not just background checks. We offer a full array, an assortment of different services with our 20,000 plus providers. All right. So we're going to walk through the employer process here in a slide form, and then I'm going to actually go into the product and do it. So we're going to start off by importing employees. And this is a really simple thing. You just go into the dashboard, click employees, click import, and you can select the different employees that you want to import. It's a really easy process. Like I said, we've got 200 plus providers in our 200 plus supported HRIS and payroll systems that you can just, couple clicks and have your data in the system. You can also easily onboard as an employer. We pride ourselves in essentially 3 clicks to onboard. If your business is on like a Google Maps or something like that, which I'll show you how that works. And once you get in, you can also add different organizations. So we support an unlimited amount of organizations. So what does that mean? Let's say you are a franchise and you support 3-4 brick and mortar stores. You can add all 3 and 4 of those brick and mortar stores individually, where they have their own HRIS platform. They may even have their own payments. They could have their own employees. And we also offer a way that if you just want it to all roll up and you want, to have the 4 physical locations separated, but you want the payment processing to go, through one bank account or one EIN number, we can support that workflow as well. So that's a way that you can have, let's say you have an HR person on site at one of the locations that's doing random drug screening, or, you have a manager that you need to give access, and you don't want to give them access to all 4 locations, just the location and the employees that they support. You can do that through our role-based access controls and the separation between the different physical brick and mortar locations. This goes a little bit more into the importing. I've said it several times already, 200 plus HRIS systems. We make it really easy to get data in. Talked about the services. We make it really easy. We've got 100 plus occupational health services. You go in, you click order, you select the provider that you want to do it for, and then you click send. And it's that simple. And our provider concierge team then takes it and starts the ordering process, making sure that the employee is good to go, that the payments are all good to go, all the pre-authorization forms and things like that. We got you covered. From an invoice standpoint, we can support card payments or ACH. So it depends on your workflow. By default, we require you to put in a credit card to place orders. And what happens in that process is when you place an order, you'll see the price of what the order is going to cost, what the Blue Hive fee is, depending on your subscription tier, which Scott's going to talk about here literally in a moment. So when you place an order, what happens is we do a pre-authorization on your credit card for the cost of that order. And then once the order is resulted from the provider, that's when it actually charges your card. And depending on some certain scenarios, the provider may want the payment up front, but we handle all of that for you. Your card only gets charged when it's resulted. So the nice piece of that also is if you do a lot of orders and you're on one of our enterprise plans, we offer a way to do net 30 or net 60 invoicing, so that instead of you having a credit card transaction every time that you place an order, we're able to do, a net 30 invoice where at the end of the month, you just get all the orders and you can pay that, net 30. So now I'm going to do a quick product walkthrough just to show you everything that was in the presentation is real and actually works. And then I'm going to hand it over to Scott to talk about pricing. All right, so here we are back on the employer dashboard from the 60-second demo. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and completely start from scratch. I'm just going to delete this employer so you can see the whole process start to finish on how to add a new employer. So if you're at home, go ahead, follow along, load up employer.bluehive.com, log in, and I'll do this step by step. So first off, let's just input the name of your employer. So I'm going to do Electric Works as our demo, because that's our headquarters, Blue Hive headquarters in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And then I'm going to put in my administrator email. This is the person that's going to own the account. It could be someone other than you. It's just someone that we will contact in the need of, payments or an issue with the account. The administrator contact is that primary email. If you have a second phone number, you can always hit plus here and add another, like a landline or a fax number, but you don't need that. So from here, we have our onboarding process of sort of, how did you get here? What are you planning to do? And this is important to pay attention to, because depending on what you select here, the experience inside the platform may change. Your dashboard may look different. The types of tests that you see may be filtered differently. So for example, here, I'm going to say that I order drug tests and that I'd also like to do automated health screenings. Hit next. I'm a returning customer. It remembered this from my account preferences from earlier, so that's why that's still selected. But I'm also going to say that I heard about us from an event, because we're at an event today. Hit next. And then this is where you can import from any number of our 200 plus HRIS systems. And you can see all the big ones are in here. So I'll just scroll down through this real quick so you can see. There's also, not just HRIS systems. You saw ClickUp in there, which is a product management essentially system. We've got Paylocity. We've got, a lot of different providers that you can use to import your employees. So I'm just going to select Bamboo, because that's what I did earlier. And in this onboarding flow, this is pretty simple. I'm going to actually make this a little bit bigger, maybe so you guys can see it a little bit better on the live stream. So in this onboarding flow, you essentially are just accepting the terms. We use a provider called Finch, and they have their own terms and conditions that you can see here. And that's who allows us to integrate with the 200 plus systems. So I'm just going to put an example here, because this is a dev system. And this would be you logging into your HRIS system. I'm going to go ahead and connect it. And once it's connected, the window will close, and you'll notice that it automatically imported the employees. Now, there's other ways that we can get data in. So if I wanted to upload, for example, a CSV file, I could select the file that I wanted to upload here. I've got my 100 records. And then from here, I can just manually select what the different fields are. And you only ever have to do this once. So for example, I'm just going to go through and say, this is the first name. This is the last name. We've got an email here, date of birth. Let's see here. We've also got phone number. So I'm going to go ahead and make this the employee phone number, and I'm going to make this their work number. And then I'm going to go ahead and add in their address. So this is their city address. This is their state and address. This is their postal code or zip code. And then I'm going to also select what we call an employer sort of advanced field. It's a custom field that you can import any extra data, additional information. So I'm going to go ahead and do date of joining. And the way to do this is you go in here, you click optional additional employee information fields, and then the name of the field, and that's it. And I'll show you where this date of joining goes into the employee record. So once I have everything selected, I'll go up to the top, I'll hit ignore uncompleted. So now all this information is ready to import. You can see all the information that I selected. And if this is confusing, if this process is too difficult, we also offer a white glove onboarding where we can do all of this for you. And we can also, if you have an HRIS system, but it's not part of the automatic systems, we can set up an SFTP feed where you just drop a CSV file and we can manually, or I guess automatically, nightly sync that data for you. So at the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and hit import. It's going to process all those employee charts. And once that's completed, we'll move on to the next step. All right, so now that we have everybody imported, I'm going to go ahead and hit next and set up the payment processing. So we partner with Stripe to do all of our payment processing. This is a very simple setup process. Agree to the terms, you just hit continue. I'm going to go ahead and add in a credit card. This will be my business card from earlier. This is a development system, so this is just a dev card. Go ahead and hit save. And then if you need to set up a bank account, if you want to do ACH, by default, we charge your card for every order, but we do offer net 30 and net 60, like I mentioned earlier, that we can set up if you do want to add a bank account. So once I have the card in, I'm going to hit next. And then we have our 3 options. We can either go to the employee menu, we can go to the dashboard, or we can start our first order. I did the first order earlier in the 60 seconds, so I'm just going to go to the dashboard. So this is your dashboard. This is where all of the information that's going to be relevant to you. You have the ability to run reports over on the left. You can add new employees, look at the employee directory, see anything that's awaiting payment, and then any results will show up here in the recent results section. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the employee section real quick. And I'm going to select one of the employees that we imported from earlier. So I'm going to just go ahead and select this Jack person. And in the more details field, you can see that that date of joining is an additional field that's part of the employee's chart. So if I go up to edit the information, you'll notice down here in the additional information optional, we have that date of joining. So if you have stuff like employee IDs or some sort of unique identifier or information that you want to import on behalf of your employees so that you can identify them in the system, you can import those through the CSV importer. You also have the ability to add departments. So we have all of these different departments here by default. If there's a department that you don't see in here, like let's say IT operations, you just type it in, you hit enter, it adds it as a new department, and then that'll be available in the system from that point on. And I'm actually going to make Jack here the CTO of Electric Works. I'm going to hit save. And now you can see we have the job title. We have the location that he works. He's in IT operations. And we have all of that information. By default, we hide most of the PHI, the PII, the phone numbers, address information like that. So when you do come into an employee's chart, if you're looking for that, you have to click on more details to access it. Okay, so from here, let me order something on behalf of Jack. First, I'm just going to make sure that I have all the information that I need. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that he has an address. And I'm going to actually put him in a different location because he moved. And if you notice, it's auto-completing that information. Go ahead and save. And I'm going to do a new order. Oh, missing a date of birth. So date of birth is required for doing orders. All right, so let's go ahead and place an order. So I'm going to go new order. I'm going to search for 10-panel drug screen. You can select any number of services from our collection. We have over 100 plus services. The easiest way to do this is just go in and use the search bar. If you're a power user, you might get really good at just selecting a service within the drop-down area. But my recommendation would just be search for what you're looking for. And this search is pretty smart. So if you do like a DOT physical, for example, you'll notice DOT is here. But you can also do aliases. So let's say you're doing like a truck driver physical. You'll also see that just having truck here will get DOT physical as a result. So I'm going to go ahead and order a 10-panel drug screen. So I'm going to search for 10, select the 10-panel drug screen. You'll notice it's over here in the selected services. If I want to order multiple tests, so let's say I wanted to do a urine screen as well, I could go in here and select, a urine drug screen. But for this example, I'm just going to order the one. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that and then hit next to order, to find the available providers in the area. And what's nice about this is you'll notice that Jack's postal code is 46804. He's actually in Fort Wayne. So let's say your organization is in California or in Texas and you're hiring someone remote, or you have an employee that you need to manage remotely. What's nice about this is we have a directory of 20,000 plus providers, and usually we have a provider within 5 to 10 miles, or sometimes even, not even a mile away from the employees that need the testing done. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and find a provider that's close to Jack. I'm going to select this Fastest Labs of Fort Wayne because I've worked with them before. So I'm going to go ahead and select that service. You'll notice now we have the assigned services on the right-hand side, and we're ready to send the order. So I'm going to go ahead and hit send order. And then from here, the provider, since Fastest Labs is a provider that uses Blue Hive, they'll get a push notification, they'll get an email they'll see it. And as you can see, okay, they've successfully accepted it. It's been confirmed. And then the next step here is for, the employee to go do the appointment. The provider is going to work on scheduling an appointment time for them. And then when everything is good and ready to go, they're going to upload a result. So from here, we're just waiting on the provider to upload the result. And there it is. So now you can see Jack is passed his 10-panel drug screen. If we want to look over here on the services, you can see this one's complete. In the timeline up above, you can see that we have all of the orders submitted, the provider confirmed, the order fulfilled. And we can even open that result if we wanted to. Since this is the test, it's just a dummy PDF file. But this will also now show on the dashboard. And you can see here that we have the Jack Campbell with his 10-panel drug screen. We have the order number, and we can look at the result. So I can hit download, and now I have that on my computer. There's a lot of other things that you can do within the employer dashboard. One of them is employee benefits. So if you want to allow your employees to log in on their own to bluehive.com and order something like a drug test or a COVID screen or something like that, self-service, you can create what we call a benefit. So by creating a benefit here, I'm going to go ahead and select, let's just do a COVID-19 PCR home test kit. And I'm also going to select a department. So, my truck driving department, I want to allow them to order one of these a week on the dime of the employer, and I want to allow them to do that. So I hit Save Changes here. And as you can see now, the truck driving department once weekly can order a PCR home test kit on their own. So that means the HR professional doesn't need to go, somebody that's managing an employee doesn't need to go and order it on their behalf. The employee can just log in if they think that they're positive, or, they may have had a, contact with somebody. They can go in and order a test on their own without needing any administrative overhead to do that. We also have the ability to do background checks with our partnership with Checkr. So if you want to, you can do background checks, pre-employment screenings, things like that. We also have the ability to add more users. So I can go in here and add a user. I'm going to go ahead and invite Martin here. So now you can see Martin is part of the administration. So he will actually get an email. He'll be able to log in. And I have the ability then to select roles. So I want Martin to be able to add orders and manage billing, view orders as well, and view orders results. And that's it. I just want him to be able to manage those things, and that's all he will see when he logs in. We also have the ability to require consent for services. We have a way to email for a detected result. So let's say you have a special email address, or you have somebody that's a user in the system that you want to automatically email if there's a positive result or a detected result. We have the ability to add that. We also support SAML, single sign-on. So if you use a third-party single sign-on provider or an identity provider, we have the ability for you to just sort of self-service set this up. If you'd like for us to help set this up for you, we have the ability to do that as well. And then we also have the ability to choose whether you have an on-site clinic and if you want to do domain registration. And what that does is if I select domain registration, that means anybody that signs up for BlueHive, any employees, you don't have to email them. You can just say, hey, go to bluehive.com and sign up. If they have an email address that's on your corporate domain, they will automatically get added to your employee directory, self-service, and you don't have to even deal with a single sign-on provider at that point. So yeah, that's just a general overview of the employer dashboard. There's a lot more in here. We're really excited about what we have to show everybody. So stay tuned for more demos and more stuff that more content that we're going to be pushing out. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give it back to Scott to talk a little bit about the pricing.
Thank you, Will, for that walkthrough. Now let's talk about pricing. We've designed a pricing matrix that's accessible to all companies. We offer flexible pricing tiers that start free meaning no monthly fee, and scale with your needs. So whether it's an entry plan to premium plans to what we call enterprise level agreements, you'll enjoy significant savings and transparent transaction fees throughout the process. And the goal is about giving you the best value without locking you into long-term contracts. The only exception being the enterprise level agreement. So let me elaborate even more. So the entry plan is ideal for small businesses or those simply just trying to figure out, is Blue Hive a fit for them? So it starts off no monthly fees, as I said, but when you do put in an order, we'll take 40%, there will be a 40% transaction fee on top of the order. So these are ideal for clients that are really just doing maybe up to 33 tests a month, physical schedules, drug screenings, what we call occurrences per month. Or again, you're a bigger company and you're just trying to figure out if we're truly a fit and if we should continue the conversation. It's free to start, easy on and easy to onboard. It's perfect for trying out the platform with no barriers. Then we graduate up to the small business plan. This is when you're like, hey, I'm either growing as a business, growing in occurrences, and I want to lower that transaction fee. That's when you end up paying us $50 a month to get that transaction fee lowered to 35%. And then that idea sort of starts to progress from there. So if you get into more occurrences, like into the 41 to 60, you can now pay us $250 a month and lower that to 25% on the transaction fees, and then go all the way up to $1,000 a month to get that transaction fee lowered to 7%. And that's ideal for any client that's doing 250 to roughly 500 orders a month. Now, for some of our bigger clients, such as like a company that is in the Fortune 500 space, you're going to want to discuss an enterprise level agreement. Again, once you've checked the boxes like, hey, Blue Hive is the platform for us. We do well over 500 occurrences. We have clients right now that we're onboarding that do up to 3,000 to 5,000 occurrences a month. This would mean they are perfect for our enterprise level agreement. And in this space, we will be wanting a long-term commitment. But in exchange, we are willing to work out a win-win situation. Win-win when it comes to your budget, win-win when it comes to the value proposition. So at that point, we will be figuring out a monthly fee that works for your budget and ensuring that transaction fee is much lower than what you see on the pricing matrix. That, again, to reiterate, would require more of a long-term agreement, but we believe that the agreement will provide value for you and you will be happy to sign that contract. But to make sure we're all clear, the pricing matrix that you see on the screen right now, no long-term contracts. You can really just cancel with a 30-day notice. And as we've already shown, you can onboard in less than 60 seconds to see if this really provides the value that you're looking for. And at the end of the day, Blue Hive's goal is to provide a model that delivers real value and just fits your organizational needs, no matter what the size of your company is. So we service companies that have 100 employees or less and just happen to do a substantial amount of drug screening per capita. But we also are serving the Fortune 500 space, like I said, where that company is going to be doing probably 3,000 to 5,000 tests a month. So in conclusion, we really appreciate your time today. I'd like to end it with a video that really summarizes in a great marketing look and a marketing video that I believe is probably better than hearing it from me, of what we've covered today and what you can expect the experience to look like. And then once that video is done, I'd like to segue into our Q&A session with Will and I. Please feel free to ask us any questions, anything that you feel like is unclear, or anything you want to go a little bit down the rabbit hole with. We are here to do that with you. So, one, appreciate your time. Thank you very much. And please join us at the Q&A session.
Introducing Blue Hive, the all-in-one platform connecting occupational health and efficiency. We've seamlessly streamlined the process for employers, providers, and employees, ensuring essential tests and screenings are completed with unparalleled proficiency. Discover unmatched choice in occupational health services with our extensive provider directory featuring over 15,000 clinics. Whether it's a DOT physical, a 10-panel drug screen, or any of the other 100-plus services we offer, finding your perfect provider is a breeze. And getting started is easy. Blue Hive caters to everyone from corporate employees to self-employed truck drivers to those currently unemployed. To get started, simply select a provider, schedule and attend your appointment, and receive real-time results to stay informed and safe on the job. In our employer and provider portals, access personalized features including CSV importing, single sign-on, service management, and simplified invoicing. Even elevate your brand with a personalized portal. The best part of Blue Hive is you can get started today for free with no monthly subscription costs. Our main goal is to make occupational care easier for everyone. Blue Hive, the online occupational health ecosystem.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. I'm here with Scott Howard, our president, and we're going to do a little bit of a Q&A session. We did get a question on LinkedIn, actually. Somebody replied to my LinkedIn post about the live stream. It's from, I believe, Delwar. Hopefully I said that correctly. And he asked, how does Blue Hive handle multi-location compliance? So I'm making a little bit of an assumption on what your question is. Essentially, if you're an employer and you have multiple different like brick and mortar locations, let's say you might have different factories, or like let's say you're a Walmart and there's Walmarts everywhere. How do you handle compliance in the different physical locations? So we make it really easy for like franchises and for business owners by giving you the availability to add different locations within your account. Those locations, as we showed in the video, they can be completely separated in the sense that they might have their own user accounts. They might have their own single sign-on. They might even have a different EIN number and payment, details. Or they don't have to, right? If you want it to roll up to one parent organization, we have the ability to do that too, where the employees are still separate, but the payment details might be all through one account. So to manage, multi-location compliance, we give you the ability to filter out different locations. You can also do different departments or different sections within your organization. And then we have a full, robust reporting capabilities where you're able to go in and see which locations are compliant, and you can even trigger events and things like that. So great question. Thanks for that. I'm looking to see if there's anybody else out there, maybe in the live chat, that has a question. Go for it. Throw the question in there. We'll answer it. I'm also going to my LinkedIn to see if any new comments have came in. Let's see. I do have a new notification here. So it looks like Joe, one of our sales leaders in the organization, did respond as well to your comment on LinkedIn. So thanks for posting that. And yeah, I don't know. I don't see really any other questions. So maybe we covered a lot of them in the live stream. If you have any questions, Scott can talk about it too. Feel free to reach out. Our phone number is available on our website. It's available in the live stream in a couple different locations. And we'll probably also be posting a follow-up on our LinkedIn and our social medias. So if you have other questions, don't be afraid to reach out to us. We're here for you. And actually, if you call the Blue Hive number and click on sales, you'll have two options. You'll either have an option to talk to Scott or talk to Joe. So don't hesitate to reach out. We're here to answer your questions and would love to talk to you about the platform.
Yeah, thanks, Will. And as far as the people who showed up and signed up for the webinar, we appreciate your time. You will get a follow-up from Joe just to see, maybe get some feedback. But also, like Will said, if you have any additional questions or even want to schedule, your own personal demo or your own personal walkthrough or figure out how you can just get started, obviously feel free to respond to that email as well. So again, to everybody who attended, we truly appreciate your time and very much are thankful for it. So thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, and don't forget to like and subscribe and click the notification bell, and you'll be alerted of the next time that we do a webinar. So I guess I don't see any more questions coming in here. I'll just refresh the page one more time, make sure I don't have any new comments. Don't want to miss anything. Yeah, it looks like we covered everything. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. Hope you have a wonderful weekend and a week coming, the next week coming over. So thank you again, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.